Hello, this is Fear Dragon coming at you with another StarCraft 2 netcast from the After Hours Gaming League Season 4 preseason preliminary matches. Is going to be Amazon versus EA. If you haven't seen game number 1 or game number 2, go ahead and check them out. I'll have a link somewhere on the screen right now in an annotation form, but if you are still around, I'm going to assume you've already seen game number 1 and game number 2 and are pumped up for game number 3 as we go ahead and jump in and introduce the players as we spawn up here in the top right hand corner of the map. Frost on top of the blue Protoss player representing Team EA. It is going to be EA's Asher coming into this series as a random player and spawning as a Protoss player is going to be up against the opponent spawning down here at the bottom right hand corner of the map as the red Zerg player representing Team Amazon. It is Amazon's Nightmare. And I think it's a very cute way of emphasizing the way that the little pun that you have going on in your name. You have the capital N, Nightmare. I don't know why there's a capital E. What is Nightmare backwards? Iram, I give up. I'm terrible at that. But regardless, it is going to be a Protoss versus Zerg, and it looks like this drone being just kind of indicating that Nightmare may be a little bit concerned with early kind of shenanigans that can go on from a Protoss player, as this is a fairly early drone scout to be sending out, and you really only send that out if you're concerned your opponent is going to do something crazy to you, especially on a 4-player map like this. But I mean, Asher looking pretty standard, going for that gateway expansion, sure, so there could be some kind of early gateway aggression coming, but other than that, everything looking pretty good for both these players. I mean, you can see pretty normally timed natural expansion for Nightmare, and I guess that Nightmare is just kind of saying, well, if I'm going to go for the hatchery first, yeah, it's a 4-player map, so my opponent probably won't scout me, but let me at least be a little bit safe by going for that early drone scout, and I think that's going to work out pretty well, considering, you know, the drone scout isn't going to find anything, but the Overlord does see, okay, there's your gateway, there's your cybernetics core, there's your 1 gas geyser, like, everything is looking pretty good, and even just seeing the, well, he should be seeing the chrono boost on that Nexus pretty soon, but regardless, we do end up having that second gas geyser being thrown down for Asher, which is a little bit interesting. Normally you do end up just kind of seeing 1 gas geyser for a while. Maybe you do end up having an earlier second gas geyser that you throw down way earlier on, and you have 2 guys in each gas, then you get out some kind of fast mothership core, go for that expansion in a nice timely fashion. But we may be seeing something totally different out of here from Asher. We could be seeing some sort of crazy early aggression, as we are seeing cybernetics core getting chrono boosted out. 3 guys on both of these gas geysers. Oh, this is looking like a very aggressive 1-base build from our player from Team Electronic Arts. Now, what could it be? Nightmare has to be prepared for it. Nightmare, it does have an Overlord in vision range of to see when that cybernetics core is getting chrono boosted out. And oh, we have a Stargate on the way over here, as well as a second gateway. The Stalker moves down to the bottom corner. This is a nice little trick that I like to do, where you kind of just, you guide which way the Overlord is initially going to move on that first hit by moving him to the opposite side. Puts the Overlord up a little bit, and that makes the difference. He manages to pick off that Overlord. A nice little win over there for our Protoss player from Team Electronic Arts. But, I mean, I am still very worried over here for Nightmare. Nightmare, once again, does not seem to be reacting nearly as heavily as maybe he should be to deal with this kind of early 1-base build. I mean, a Stargate is out. We have just drones being produced. We only have a couple. I think there's only 1 guy on gas. Now we have 2 guys on gas. And we're going to be seeing a Roach Warren come out. Oh no, I think that this is looking like very standard play from Nightmare. I'm guessing that he's going to try and take a 3rd expansion very soon. And that could bode very ill for our Zerg player from Team Amazon. Now, the Zergling does come in over here. He does see, okay, there's no natural expansion. There's 2 gateways. He sees the 3rd gateway, but does he realize there's a Stargate? There's a Stargate right here. He did not see the Stargate. Look at this. It's so close. Oh no, the Overlord is also not exactly moving in the direction, but the first Void Ray is already out. This is going to be a devastating blow if he can actually do a good amount of damage, but you do have to remember there are 3 queens. I would love to see this Void Ray pull back and go for the surprise with one more Void Ray, but no, he does reveal himself as all these Zerglings are now charging across the map, and I do have to note that there's not really actually a wall off over here for Asher, and in fact, we don't actually have a 3rd expansion being taken for Asher. Asher actually might have just identified that there is a huge vulnerability without having that wall in it. Oh my god, the Zealots and the Stalker all get surrounded. The Void Ray going to be charging up from above, but I'm not sure that's going to be that effective, as now the Zerglings are in the mineral line, taking out probe after probe. The probe count is already immediately just fallen to 18 and is going to be suffering additional losses. The 2 Voiders had to retreat back home to defend. This is going to give the Zerg player more time to get out more queens. We already have another queen finishing up. 4 queens should be able to deal with any of this kind of aggression, as well as time to build up these spore crawlers. I mean, the Zerg player in Nightmare may have just secured himself a really solid position in this game. I mean, he has a nice drone lead. He is fully prepared for these Void Rays, and the Mothership Core has taken out a couple of the actual attacking units of his Protoss opponent, and he's gotten a full scout off. There's not much more he could have asked for with that, outside of maybe just, I don't know, what if he just somehow managed to magically start attacking the Void Rays with the Zerglings. That would have been a pretty nice win, but this is about as much as you could have asked for realistically. Now the Voiders are going to be coming in over here, starting to do a little bit of attacking on that queen. He has to pull back a little bit because he did let that Void Ray get a good amount of damage over there. The Mushroom Core getting target fire down. A big Time Warp does go down, and by big Time Warp, I mean it's not really actually affecting anything over here outside of stopping those queens from chasing down those Voiders. It's actually a really nice move over there. One queen does end up falling. It did get transfused once, so it had a little bit of increased livelihood, but actually we're seeing these queens kind of filter in over here. They're actually not being as effective. Look at this. The Voiders have barely taken any damage beyond just their shields, and now they're going to start taking out Overlords. He's actually supply blocked his opponent over here. Oh my god, is actually Asher making this work? He's now going to be moving over into the main base. See what damage you can do. Takes out a creep tumor. See you later. No crew spread over in that main base for those queens to take advantage of. And we're going to end up seeing these 2 queens retreat back over here, but another swarm of Zerglings moving out across the map, trying to do what damage they can with, since they can't really do a whole lot to these Voiders. Might as well be aggressive with them. The Voiders now coming in over here. The Spore Crawler trying to burrow over here. It is going to get taken out very quickly, but at the same time, the Zerglings taking out that natural expansion. Doesn't even get canceled. It does not look like it, as now the Voiders going to get actually taken out. One of them, that is a huge loss over here. The difference between 1 Void Ray's DPS and 2 Void Rays is huge, and oh no, actually you need to move back with your Void Rays. Asher going to be losing that 2nd Void Ray, as it does end up falling, and now the Mothership Core even going to be taking a couple hits over here. At the same time, the Zerglings in the main base taking out so much of that economy for Asher. He not only canceled the natural expansion, but also has completely halted mining over in that main base. Asher does not even have enough minerals to build another nexus, so if he cannot defend this main nexus, it is going to be curtains closed, as more and more Zerglings are now starting to stream in over here. This is just the absolute worst case situation over here for Asher, as EA is looking to be in a very grim situation. GG gets called, and Amazon taking game number 3 in this best of 5 series, starting to make that comeback. It is a best of 5 series, which means you have to win 3 games, and that means that Amazon, who is currently, or up until this point, had won 0 games, was in a really bad situation. Any games that they had given up would have actually caused them to lose the series. So now they have that fighting chance. They're starting to break that momentum that Electronic Arts is building up. And they're saying, hey, you know what? 2-1. Let's do this. Game number 4, guys. I will see you there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. See you in a little bit.